start recording. And good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome to another week of Market Structure with Ozzy. What a week! What a start of the week, end of the week, midweek. I think depends where you are in the world, but for us, we just had Easter, of course, and markets looks like they're just gone for a chocolate run. They got some energy, they got some steam. What I thought we'd do today, would just do a bit of a macro analysis. So I wanted to take a look at dollar, at bonds, and a couple of assets, of course, and then we'll just run through the main four, but we'll look at some setups and where we can potentially see some setups eventuating not only in the main fours, but on some alts as well. So without any further ado, first of all, if you are joining in the chat live, please feel free to use the chat there to ask any questions or come off mute. I'm not against that either. So GM Lars, GM. But if you are watching this in a recording on YouTube, make sure to leave a comment down below and let me know what you'd like to see next time. So let's take a little peek at good old dollar. Dollar is now obviously falling big time, which is great for a number of reasons. We talked about this level for a while, so this was really the level that we were looking at to take out. We finally have taken that out, so we're taking this 2023 lows, and now we just keep making lows and lows and lows. So we just hit a 3-year low. And why is that good for, I guess, us and our portfolio? Because obviously when the dollar goes down, I mean, it's cheaper to borrow money likely because cuts are coming, even though Jerome Powell is playing hardball at the moment. It's just delaying the inevitable. But once we see this dollar eventually falling down, I reckon potentially even retesting some of these levels here. So the low 90s and potentially even sweeping the early 90s and high 80s. Well, that's when the real party begins. But as you can see, these are weekly candles, so we've just been melting away. Even though we had a little bit of bullish day yesterday, it was just a temporary, I think, just correction. Personally, you can see today we actually opened higher and straight up for half of the day, or 12, 13 hours already in the candle. We're gonna push lower. So now it's just a matter of saying, we're gonna close below this last two candles or not. We'll see. We've got another 11 hours and 15 minutes on the dollar. But overall, great news. We've taken obviously these lows back here. You do notice that there's an imbalance over here, which kind of coincides with the lows. So it's obviously an interesting area to play off, that $100, which is also a psychological level. Most likely, I think we are going to come and eventually retest it before dropping lower. So that's kind of my bullish bias, I guess, for the dollar. We might drop down a little bit higher, then retest, fill the gap, potentially even come as higher as this candle, but that will be a sharp V drop, I think, so something like that. No point in speculating now. As we know, we're not trying to predict the market, we just react. But this is what I see. This is what I'm expecting for the dollar. So with that in mind, let's take a look at another important chart, which we don't take a look very often, but we should, even though we're not obviously trading a whole bunch of other assets there other than crypto and some stocks. Well, the bonds, the 10-year bonds, are a good indicator of where the sentiment is in terms of market wise. And obviously we can see that the 10-year bonds are very much at a high. They're trading kind of on top of the range, right? This was obviously the range, so we're trading very much in that top of the range. So that's the bottom, that's the top. We're definitely in the second half. So what happens when the bonds start to drop? Well, it's like we just discussed with the dollar, it's a good news for borrowing money. So effectively, what we want to see is these bonds to fall and take out some of these lows, which obviously means that not just in the US, but obviously this is very much a US bond, 10-year, but US, you can say, obviously very much at the forefront of global economy. We are wanting to see these bonds falling, and I think Trump is going to give us just that. Obviously, the whole tariff dance, we can call it, because we don't really know what the orange man is doing. But I think his ultimate goal is to take out, obviously, the bonds, which means if he manages to crash, per se, and I'm using quotes even though you can't see me, the market down at a sub 3.5%, well, then it will be very much good news for him and the government when they have to refinance the 10 trillions or however many trillions that they need to refinance this year. So obviously costs a lot less to refinance 10 trillion down here than it costs to refinance 10 trillion up at 4.5. So you're playing with big money. Every little percentage makes a huge difference. So this is kind of like a macro economy when it comes to the US. Of course, we want to see the S&P 500 as well, which has been at a really interesting level. So we talked about it and we were pretty much spot on. We said we were going to see a revisit of this candle up here. We highlighted this week, and we did. We actually dipped a little bit lower. And if you remember from a couple of weeks ago, or a little bit longer than now than a couple of weeks ago, but we did say that this move, when it was going to happen, it was going to very much create panic and fear in the market, which it did for a little while. And obviously you can see how quickly the market reacted. So we basically just took out this low, and within just a few candles we pretty much bounced back off. So this is on a daily, you can see take out liquidity and immediately ran. So what is going to happen now with the S&P 500, which obviously is a very good indicator or thermometer for macro asset temperature, you can call it if you like. So we obviously have now hit, I think this looks like a 236 potentially. Let's have a look. Just having a little look, see, I don't know 236 here, but 0.236. Yeah, it was just a little bit below. So obviously the strength is very much there for S&P 500, which is to be expected because of majority of 401k in the US. That this is where the money, people's retirements go into. So I am expecting to go high in the long term. I don't think personally we're going to go much lower than this. I think this was the low. So if anything, we might create a bit of a new range here for a little while until the dollar sorts itself out and decides to really drop. Obviously, that's the long-term prediction. But until that happens, I think we are going to stall a little bit here, and then we will see a continuation of a bullish S&P 500, which obviously it's good news for stocks overall and for many other assets as well, such as gold, which is next on the list. We're going to talk about gold. So this thing has just been insane. I mean, we talked about it last week with Sexy. Since 2023, that was the last low. It's just been a non-stop parable up here. The last 24 hours have been interesting for gold. We have tried a few times. Nadia was eyeing a few shorts. I personally was eyeing a few shorts. And really what happens is when you have such big strength, like trying to short, you can try to catch these moves, but you have to be in and out quick. And it's really hard to take profit to determine a realistic TP, I should say, not a realistic TP, because you basically just play against the strength. So you're better off in these kind of scenarios when you see such strength, and this obviously goes for not just gold but for any chart. So what you want to do, you really want to go with the trend, right? So I'd rather have some structure to go by, such as, for example, here, this would have been obviously breaker structure. You wait for a pull. Once you see another high, you enter and you take a fib, and this would have been a nice long to take up here. Obviously, this is just a chart, so don't look about the time frames. Don't look about the asset. It's just when you see something going up like this, wait for the pullback and long basically. And obviously the reverse can be the same. So if you see a chart that's going down, you just simply wait for the pullback and short. So gold has been, like I said, very interesting to watch. Predictions have been absolutely obliterated. I'm looking on some of the Twitter, or X I should say, predictions, markets, news. This thing just it's got a mind of its own. But last 24 hours you can see this is on a or under, so a forex broker. We did open and left the gap behind. You can see the gap right here. That's obviously the gap. That was on the daily though. On the 4 hour, yeah, super strong, like insanely strong. On the 4 hour, what happens is, and this will be a good example now of a chart to look at. So if we make it a little bit bigger, I need to get out of my metal detector and head out west, yeah, for real. There's people on the beach these days. So, but what I wanna see now, I wanna show you guys and girls. So we have obviously a bullish structure on the 4 hour. So this is an intraday trade, right? So we obviously stalled another bullish impulse, and then we have a 4 hour candle that takes our liquidity and another big move up. And now what happens is we have just the last candle printer, because this one is still printing. We have made a bearish candle which did not close below the previous 4 hours. So that's interesting. That means that potentially the bearish pressure that was temporarily present in gold has potentially exhausted, and the bulls are back in control. So this could be potentially a nice long. You can see I'm just drawing a line there for structure. This candle, where is my arrow? Yeah, I use this one. This candle did not close under this candle. So you can see 4 hours already starting to print a bullish candle. I think this could be potentially a bit of an intraday setup for anyone that's going to play the London or the New York session. Obviously London now active, but the New York session could potentially give us a revisit of this area. You can see even on the 1 hour, this was a beautiful 1 hour institutional candle that took out lows, and we already have a nice move on the upside. So this is a potential trade that if you do play metals or commodities and whatnot, I wouldn't be against taking something like this. So a retest of this candle right here, and a fairly relatively tight stop loss, and yeah, and a retest of obviously these equal highs that we have up here. So this is the liquidity level that we have. That could be a nice little 1 to almost 2.5, depending on how precise is your price feed, I should say, because some price feed might give you smaller wicks and whatnot. So this could be a nice live trade, I think, for gold. And obviously there is a chance, because gold loves to wick down, and it is a very, very manipulated asset. There is a chance that we might actually crash down, take this newly formed wick, and eventually go and take out this liquidity up here. So if you are to trade this this move, I'll probably say keep your stop loss super tight, because there is a chance that we might head a little bit lower, in which case we could look at re-entry on a smaller time frame, such as the 5 minutes or the 1 minute. So I do like gold. I was looking at just before this live in the last 4 hour candle, that 4 hour candle. I like the reaction there that we're getting. So here's a live trade for gold. But overall, obviously, needless to say, we can say that this is a bullish chart. Where does it end? Really hard to tell, to be honest. Like, this is where in price discovery there's no real I guess indicator. All you can do is potentially fib extension. So you take something like from the previous low to the previous high, and then you look at some of the crazy extensions. You can probably do a 1, 2. You can do a 2618 and a 3618. So oh no, meant to do the minus, sorry. So minus. And let me know if it's too loud, the music. I've got a bit of a rocky music in the background for tonight. So yeah, look, 1414, we're here now, and 2272, it's at the 4,400. So we can probably look at the minus 1618 as well, which will be somewhere up here. Yeah, it is. Yeah, 3732. So this will be just a little prediction of where potentially we might incur some selling pressure. So I'll just box it up here just so that we have a bit of a visual. selling pressure, which is going to be very soon, as you can see, because we're here almost now. So this could be it. This could be a nice little short potentially on gold if we were to retrace down and potentially even come back down into some of these imbalances up here. I don't think we're going to come back to the mid twos. I think that's far gone. I think, but we might see some sort of weekly candle being tested again in one of these two potentially. So obviously we're looking at very high time frames. This is on a weekly basis. So this is kind of my take on obviously dollar, US 10-year bonds, SP 500 and gold. So where does that leave us with crypto? Well, crypto, we always start from probably the most important chart that you can possibly look at right now, which is obviously the Bitcoin dominance. We have had this chart now for, and you're probably sick of seeing it because we've seen it. We looked at this chart for months and months and months. But we are at a level now that we were hoping was already tested, but turns out that a couple of months later, net being now, we are likely going to come back into this monthly major buy to sell move. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a 70% Bitcoin dominance. Keep saying it, we keep saying it keeps going up. You can see this is on a monthly chart, but I do think that at least a 50% retrace, which would also coincide with the previous high of that monthly candle before of 65, so 67 to 70 potentially, that kind of level. This is where I'd be looking for a potential reversal for Bitcoin dominance, which kind of aligns with obviously where other charts such as ETH.BTC, which is the reverse of Bitcoin dominance. This is the strength of Ethereum against BTC. Well, we are now at absolutely extreme levels. So we've had this harmonic again. I'll keep pushing it down. So the harmonic was previously here, previously was here, now it's here, now it's here, and now likely is going to go to a 1-to-1. So this is probably where I think we'll end up. With ETH.BTC, there's still more pain to come temporarily. I do think this is the very pointy end. I was having a call the other day with someone and we were just chatting about ways to increase our Bitcoin holdings, and do we switch something, do we swap some of the BTC for ETH now? This could be a nice little play long term. You could do it now, I think but you're still going to be in a red position or underwater position for a little while more, because I do think we'll probably come back into this low. So a little bit more patience, I think, for ETH. And another chart that I looked at, I put in the chart, was obviously the Ethereum dominance, which is at a crazy low. So do you want to say something relevant? I saw you coming off mute.
I know.
All good. Just want to say g'day. But yeah, ETH at an all-time low, which is absolutely nuts. So we've gone from a 30% dominance in the market to a 7%. But I don't think ETH is going anywhere. This is just one of those times where you buy the fear. I've been stuck in ETH personally. Obviously not now, but sub 1500, that was a great buy. I think we put it in the Discord. If you can afford to buy one ETH under 1500, you'll be happy in the long term. And yeah, I mean, it's just one of those projects that it's the foundation of crypto, alongside with obviously Bitcoin, and namely a few others. But these are great opportunity, which are not going to last very long. As you can see, all it takes is one candle to turn things around. So for Bitcoin, obviously we discussed the dominance. It is going to go up a bit more, I believe. And what about some setup? So this was a chart that we shared a little while back in terms of where are we at in the market. So obviously major liquidity zones being created with this, I guess, up trending trend line and a downtrending trend line that's been obviously taken out alongside this equal highs. So Bitcoin is now into two major and obviously massive gap. You can see from 100k down to 60, 65 or 60. These are the major areas, right? But when you look at fractal, which is effectively how the market behaves in previous, you can see this was a fractal, this ghost feed which you can use this tool down here. It's a very similar fractal, and you probably, again, sick of seeing this chart because I've had it posted since December. It's playing out. It's playing out pretty good. You can see. So we obviously came back into the level, into the this major channels, and we're now moving. It seems to be a little bit faster than the previous move, which was obviously this one. So you can see the fractal, or the ghost feed, is a little bit sharper, more towards the upside. But I do believe this is likely the move, which in the next few months or weeks, no, but definitely we're looking at months. We talked about it, June, July. It's going to push us to new all-time highs, and then potentially we'll see the next bear market. But before obviously going up again, you can see this is what the fractal looks like. So we look at longer time frames here. Personally, not a huge scalper, more of a swing trader. So I like to take positions that develop over time. So this is still very much my bias for Bitcoin, basically ping pong in between these channels. And at the moment, we are in this area. So do I want to see some positions? Do I want to see some strength? I want to see some strength past this area. So if we can really break through this selling pressure, which is basically just the fib level of the low to the high, you can see it's the 786, 886. Once we can see this area really being pushed and closes start to happen above, obviously new all-time highs. I don't want to see just a week. I want to see a close. But for now, I am basically not going to do much leverage for Bitcoin and for a few other alts, but we'll take a look shortly until I see some structure forming. There's no clear setup here. This is Bitcoin on the 1 hour. All we can see is obviously the last strength, impulse, retrace, and then obviously it's up only. So until we stop for a little while effectively and start forming some sort of structure, there's no clear setup for me. The setup was here. The setup was down here, where we see this kind of consolidation. This is nothing else but creating liquidity in the market. And if you are familiar with what liquidity is, it's money. But if you are familiar with smart money, you know that liquidity is the fuel that smart money needs in order to do these moves. So when we stop after a very large impulse and we zigzag for a while, all we're doing is effectively we're just recharging the tank until we can either do obviously a move up or a move down. So when we see this kind of consolidation, not just in crypto, peeps, in everything, these are the great times to buy or sell, to take positions. So you can play obviously the ranges, but you can also take larger positions. I personally managed to catch some forex trade, some of my best forex trades in this kind of pattern where we had some big consolidation and then obviously breakout. And you can see when the breakout does happen, it's violent. It hardly ever gives you a retest of 50%, because usually what happens is, and if you watch my fib video from Smart Money here on the YouTube channel, you know that 382 or 236, they basically just fib levels that tell you that the strength of the move is phenomenal. Whereas once we hit obviously 50% or 618 or 786, that strength diminishes. So all that this was just basically refilling the tank. So no clear setup for me in terms of leverage at the moment. I'm not gonna go down in 15 minutes and trying to do effectively what we've been doing with gold, which is trying to estimate and guess what the top is, because this thing can just literally just go and shoot up and make all-time highs. But there is a case to be said. There is obviously imbalances left behind when these kind of moves explode up or down for the meta. Usually they do leave imbalances behind. But the counter to that is that these imbalances don't have to be filled, and definitely don't have to be filled now. They can be filled later down the track. So too risky for me at the moment. Personally, I don't like the odds of taking any leverage trades. I don't know if Sexy, if you agree with that. That's just my personal take. Let's have a look. What do you got? You got a, yeah. It's just, yeah, that's right, yeah. And ETH, this is a great example of what this is why I wanted to bring it up. So we just discussed what consolidation is, refilling the tank. Obviously, we had a big move down, and then we stopped here. This was the range I had highlighted. I didn't call out this trade because I didn't have a break of structure, and my alarm, I should say, on the trend lines was after we closed below, after we wick below this liquidity, or after we wick above, and obviously we ended up wicking above. But what I was hoping to see from ETH was effectively catching all this liquidity, which it did, but we did on the upside. Unfortunately, didn't do the move that I was hoping it would, and that's fine. The market does what the market wants to do, and all I was looking at was a grab of these equal lows. You can see equal low 1, 2, 3. I was hoping for it to get grabbed, and it didn't. And if you zoom down on lower time frames, you can see we had a beautiful 1 hour candle, which was the last move down. This one right here. So this was the last candle, last move down before effectively the larger move up. So I was hoping for a retest of that 1 hour candle that unfortunately didn't come. So we can now officially delete this ETH setup. I don't want to play it again. That would have been a nice setup if it eventuated, but unfortunately it didn't. So, but these are the kind of setup that I would like to see before I take them. So effectively accumulation, fueling the tank, and you can see this is another great example of looking at the 1 hour, the opposite direction. So obviously here we have a bearish accumulation, so which is called distribution. So we're basically just refueling the tank to then dump. So yeah, no trades for me in terms of leverage on ETH and BTC. XRP, we caught a beautiful buy. That was a great buy that we caught. I've got the setup, I think here. Yeah. So we hit TP1, TP2, TP3. This thing is still going. I'm out. What I wanted to see was obviously strength past this level, and XRP is giving us the strength that we want. So this was the trade for me. I'm not going to force a short or anything like that at the moment. There's no point. But I do have my target still in terms of take profit, and this is for portfolio, not for leverage. So I am going to start scaling out my position on XRP further because I'm already about 50% out, and I'm going to scale out probably around the $2.50 or just before the $2.50, and then again $2.87. That's going to be my next take profit. And final, if we get there, it's going to be around the $4.50. So that's my final TP. I'll probably leave about 10% in there for when we get to that level, which might be a long time. But for now, I've played my leverage on XRP, and now we're just going to wait for the market to come up and again grab this equal highs and retest some of this liquidity, and definitely this 4 hour candle around the $2.80, which is the last big push up before the major drop down. So just a matter of time before we get to $2.87. And you can say, Ozzy, but why don't you just keep it open? Well, you can, but then you incur something bad in trading, and that's called greed. And I don't recommend you get into the habit of getting greedy with your trades. Start learning. Yeah, we're definitely looking at Solbrid, don't worry. Sorry, I just saw your message. Don't get into the habit of becoming greedy. You can let your runners run, and that's fine. If your position is big enough, sure, let your runners run. But also fall in love with the process of taking profit. It's a beautiful thing, and profit is profit. So sure, you don't want to cut yourself short. I never take profit. I usually around 1 to 3 is my minimum. So once I hit that, I'm happy, and I can move on to other trades. So, and last but not least, of course, we've got Sol requesting there. So Sol is now obviously at important levels. We have this was a beautiful chart when I was looking at earlier. What we've done was we've taken out all this liquidity below here not last week, but a couple of weeks ago. Taking out this liquidity down here, and now the question is, what are we going to do in the next few days? Are we going to retest this major, which we already are? You can see we're already here. How are we going to react into this major daily candle? Are we going to close above it? Because there's major equal highs. You can see them here. I'll make it a little bit bigger, but we have some pretty big equal highs up here. So that's obviously liquidity. Are we going to grab up there and do one of these ones? And sorry, didn't grab my tool. Come on. Are we going to go one of these ones and then reverse? Or are we going to continue higher and then push and flip that level? It's really up again. This is way too risky for me to take any position right now in Sol. This daily candle has all my attention on a few different charts. It's not just in Sol. Definitely until we see this flipped, and what I mean by flipped is a strong close above, and then starting to make it higher, low, higher, low, higher, and so forth. There's no real incentive for me to do anything right now. We are literally in the middle of a move, and what I mean is this is obviously the range that we have. This is the range that we have, and we are pretty much at half through the range. So the only other level which we tried to play, because it fit my confirmation, was this candle, and obviously that didn't work because Sol decided, the whole market decided that wanted higher, and that's fine. That was my one stab at potentially shorting this, and we did catch a little movement, but obviously then market reversed higher. Now the next level I'm going to be looking is somewhere here, and there's obviously a lot of intraday into that candle. You can see there's a lot of imbalances. You can see straight away the 4-hour candle right here. It's something that obviously has my attention right there. This week, similar right here. So, but it's too soon. It's too soon to do anything for me. We'll have to wait when we're a little bit closer to that price level. There's still a lot of room. We're at 150. There's another 20% thereabouts to go up there. So where's that? Yeah, sorry, 15%. Math is not mathing tonight. Once we get up there, we'll have a look at lower time frame and react accordingly. If we start seeing some breaker structure, we'll likely enter on a retest, not just on the first breaker structure. We covered this a few weeks ago. Why we don't want to enter on the first breaker structure, because as you can see here, high, lower low. Oh, great! I'm gonna enter short here, and then the market continues up. So obviously, this is the market inducing you to short, where in reality, then it just traps buyers and continues higher. So when you see this kind of setup, just wait for another lower high to be made, and then lower low and re-enter on the retest. So that's likely what we'll do when we get up here. We'll wait on some lower time frame confirmations and go from there. Let's have a little look-see at some alts. So I've got my whole entire list here, and usually what I do, I just quickly go down the list literally to see, and you can see I've got this candle here, the daily candle that we just talked about for Sol. It's in many other charts as well, and it's a very important level. Few charts, few pairs, few tickers are already a little bit more advanced into that candle. So it's going to be really interesting, I think, to see for the broader market what the reaction is. But I definitely have been looking at AVE to accumulate. We called it not long ago, I think it was. Where do I see Sol heading to? What time frame? What's the time frame there? Give me a time frame. Tomorrow, in a month, in a year, 5 years. Short term, within the month. Well, it's very hard to tell at the moment. Like I said, if BTC decides to do that kind of ping pong here between these two major, obviously Sol is going to follow. Personally, what I think it would make sense, if we are not obviously, sorry, that was the wrong one. If we are not ready to explode higher, oh my gosh, I'm having real struggle here with the tools. If we are not ready to push higher, I think the 50% level will likely see us bouncing here. So obviously now is what we are in April, May. I think we'll probably see some sort of a little bit bullish price action, and then if and let's pray. We do see in May, we see some Bitcoin dominance starting to melt a little further, or a little, because it's really hasn't done so yet. But if it does start to melt, of course, we're going to see Sol, ETH, XRP, all sort of alts going up. But this is a great sign. The fact that we are obviously broken structure. We had an attempt here at break of structure, and you can see we closed above the previous high, and then obviously that was engulfed, and we ended up going lower. We created a new structure on the daily, and now we have made new higher highs. So this is a great strength, sign of strength from the market. This is a great sign of recovery from alts. So I would say probably we'll see some sort of retracement soon, but overall, I think we are going to take obviously this higher. Not very not distant future. A couple of months, I think we'll be closing above 200 again. So hope that answered the question. But yeah, let's have a little look see at some of the old. So we had obviously Sky, which is Maker. We had a beautiful short. We caught TP1, hit TP1 a few times, and then said just move your stop loss at break even, which was good because obviously we got stopped out. But Maker is going to likely follow ETH, I think, for price action. But I'll be looking for a nice gain effectively from this level still. So for Maker, I'm looking at, you can see that was the short. We took that one. TP1 was hit a few times. I am looking at this kind of price prediction for Maker. So we are at $1,400. Previous run Maker saw us being more expensive than ETH. You can see all-time high was $4,000, and I do want to see at least another 2x from here. So I think this is a very achievable price for Maker there. Can we have a look at a few pairs against BTC? Yeah, of course. Sol, BTC, Sui, and Near. Let's have a quick look-see. So, Sui, BTC. There you go. I've got it here. I think we discussed this. Okay, daily Sui has just been it's bonkers, the strength of this pair. Give me a close above. You're so close. You've got another 13 hours. I think Sui is going for it. What's giving it away, of course, is the equal lows. You can see we didn't close really, or barely. I don't consider this a lower low. I think it's an equal low. So the close here being, I can probably just draw it a little bit better if I do this. You can see this was the low and this was the low. Double bottom, however you want to call it. This tells me that there's obviously strength. And now the question is for Sui, do we see some sort of Sui BTC that is undue? So do we see some sort of pullback, which I don't think is going to be that shallow, that deep. It's probably going to be more like this, and then another run higher. So Sui is ready to run. Obviously we know this, we've been looking at. So have we discussed BTC already? Yes. G'day, Big Max. So yeah, we discussed dollar, 10-year bonds, SP500 Gold, dominance, USD, and all this that you see on screen here. So but yeah, feel free to ask questions in the meantime if you want to put anything in the chat. But okay, the next one was Sol BTC. Let's have a look at Sol BTC. Yeah, Sol BTC, what I don't like, and I was looking at this chart the other day, and you can see I've got an alarm set there. I want to see this a little bit lower. So we currently tap the 702, which is a smart money, not official fib level, but very likely to be tapped a few times because it's deeper than 618, but not as deep as the 786. I want to see this a little bit coming down a bit more. And when I do, and we enter this kind of area here for Sol versus Bitcoin, I will be converting Bitcoin into Sol, because obviously the gains is quite substantial. So give an example, if we were to wait for BTC to, or I guess for Sol BTC to go from here to here, this is a 91% move or increase on your Bitcoin holdings, and that these charts don't necessarily correlate to the asset price. So this is just two assets. It's Sol versus Bitcoin. So it's not Sol against US dollars. It's not Bitcoin against US dollars. It's two assets versus each other. So for all we know, the price can just be stagnant, and this chart's still move. So I did have some dust on Binance, I think it was, for you know how sometimes you just exit from an exchange and you're left behind with dust. And I converted it. I've had some Sol, you can see here. So and I do these games a few times just to increase my holding. So Sol versus ETH, this is that we're looking at now, and so it's Solana against Ethereum. I had 0.08 left in there, and I converted here, and I'm up about 40% on my Solana holdings. If I was to, on my Ethereum holdings, sorry, if I was to convert my Sol for ETH now, but I do think we'll go higher. This chart is overextended, obviously, with Solana dominance against Ethereum, so I'm going to hold for a little bit longer until I want to double my original Ethereum holding. And this works with any kind of asset. So as you can see, the last 2 weeks we didn't have a 40% price. You know, ETH didn't go up 40%. So this is just how you can play your portfolio. It is a little bit risky, of course, but this is how I also like to diversify some of my plays. And then we have NEAR versus BTC. Not a chart that I've been looking at. NEAR has been falling off my radar for a bit, actually. Wow. Yikes. Well, obviously the all-time lows, but we are starting to see some strength potentially from some of the alts. Is NEAR one of them? So we're on Binance here. What's the volume looking like? We're starting to see some volume, which is good. You can see the spikes of volumes that are happening towards the bottom of a, all this. You can see spikes of volumes, but I do want to see more. I need to see more price action. If I go on a weekly, how's that looking? Still very low volume overall. You can see I want to see this kind of volume kicking in, for something like NEAR to potentially give me some sort of breakout. So this is, not a lot happening in this chart, I'm afraid. Let's have a look at Doge BTC. Doge in general, sorry. This is a great looking chart for Doge BTC, in fact. So I do like this better than the previous one, in the sense that the risk to reward is definitely there. If you were to play this chart, obviously at extreme low, so we're way past the AA6 here. This is on a weekly, so we go from low to high. Yeah, we're way below here, but it could also go low, and that's a risk that you incur when you do this kind of plays against Bitcoin. You do incur the risk to swap an asset for the other one, and then you're underwater for a little while. It happens, but if you have a bit of an understanding of charts, just a matter of patience and time. But let's have a look at Doge in general. Max is asking in the chats. I do have my where is it? So many pairs. This is my full list. So Doge, this is a good chart again. Not as extreme as the BTC chart, but obviously at a great level now. Probably at a 786. 786, 886. Licked almost missed the 886, and it obviously started to reverse. I was looking at some of the pairs, some of the meme coins that I should say. Bonk is also looking. It's ready to go higher. Brett is looking ready to go higher. They're all pushing up, and I think Pepe is probably the one that I like the better in terms of potential upside at the moment. But WIF also has a ton of volume coming in, so you can see how much volume is coming in into WIF. So this is really bullish for me when you see this kind of volume coming into the markets. Pepe against ETH. With Pepe, obviously the big ones are I'll probably say with Pepe and Doge are the best looking ones. But actually I'll take it back. I think Doge is the best looking one out of the three, but Pepe's close second. have you look at PopCat? Nah, man, I don't like. I have this just for you can see major means. It's only when people ask me that I look into them. PopCat. I have fiddled with some meme coins, and this never ended up well for me. Aussie doesn't do meme coins. Yeah, this again looking good. This is looking good. Definitely TP. 50% of that move gives you a, what is that? Is that 30 cents now? So it's a 3x. Not bad, not bad. That's kind of where I don't dive too much, as you guys know. Yeah, and that's the thing. Big Max in the chat. For those of you watching the recording, you don't see the chat, but Big Max just said Flocky and Sheep are looking great too, but the volume is maybe meh, and that's the problem with some of these meme coins. That I think Nadia put it perfectly the other day when she said, you know, these are the meme coins that are gonna have the volume and are gonna have the strength behind, both with theme and also I guess with longevity, and I do want to see volume. So if I was to allocate a small percentage of my portfolio at these lows, I like to probably look at major ones. Still holding out hope for Nike if these tariffs are sorted out. yes, let's talk stocks real quick. Hey, let's have a little look. Obviously Celsius with it's fantastic. We caught it. It's still doing its thing. Let it go. Coinbase, we caught the lows. Still doing great. Let's have a look where Nike is. Nike. I've got it here. There. Yeah. But what do you see irrelevant? Tell me what you see. We just talked about it for a little while. This is on a weekly. What do you see in this chart? Tell me in the chat. And not just relevant. Anyone can tell me. What do you see? Fair value gap. Look down below. Look down below. I'll give you a hint with my arrow. Look at the amount of volume. Yeah, look at the amount of volume that is coming in into these lows right now. And you can see I've colored out the volume. I don't care if it's, you know, red or green, whatever. This is what you want to see. Exactly sexy. This is what you want to see. You want to see volume. And this tells you that here, when at this low, there's that many more people interested, that there's that many more money being traded in this asset, and you want to see that. So I am very much bullish for Nike at this level. That was my first entry, you can see. Second entry, I've got it down here, and probably going to stack up a little bit more soon. You can see already on the pre-market today, we are trading $2.18 higher on the pre-market already. You can see down here, orange. So look, I'm bullish at these levels. Obviously, with tariffs, you know, easing and all that, but I'm still holding my my positions. I've got an option open on Snapchat. I bought some extra XYZ, which is Block, Jack Dorsey's company. And I've been entering some options, like you guys know, in WBD as well as WBA, which is sorry, yeah, this is Walgreens Boots Alliance, so in the States, and you can see this is already flying higher. So very much happy on the stock side. Etsy is the one that I'm eyeing next, and I think I'm going to pull the trigger maybe tonight. If, yeah, you can see the reaction. This is on the weekly. I had this as an entry, as a level. You can see I had this weekly. We'll have a look at it together. This was the COVID candle, which I was looking for Etsy to come and mitigate, and we traded into this candle. Now, of course, I am probably going to wait a little bit, because I think we might see a little bit lower, potentially fill in this little fair value gap on the weekly. So give me 30, 35, 39, anything sub 40 for Etsy, and I'll be happy to stack up some positions in Etsy for sure. Yeah, this is kind of me on the I'm just on a call, sweetie. Sorry, my son just came in. Yeah, this is kind of what I'm seeing now for most of the stocks, and I guess the crypto positions. But any questions in the chat, guys, let me know, and girls, of course, let me know while I fix a piranha plant for my son in the background. Nope. No questions. Maybe questions. Some questions. Anything else that you guys want me to take a look at? LTC and LTC BTC. Okay, definitely haven't looked at LTC in a long time. Let's have a little look. Where are we at? Well, on the just on a specific, like on a simple structural basis on a weekly, you can see obviously we are bullish. We've managed to keep the lows and we are going to push higher. So this is looking like a bullish chart. There's some volume, a little bit of volume coming in here, of course. Now we dropped off yet again, but yeah, I mean it's that was a fair bit of volume actually that came in. So on a higher time frame perspective, looks bullish. On a daily? Let's have a look. Yeah, we probably take it from here actually because that's the low right there. Tapped the 76 and started to run again. So I don't know. Are people still using Litecoin? I really don't know. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this comment, but it's like probably something that people trade more than use, right? I would think. Yeah, it's a meme. Something you trade, like yeah, it was maybe relevant years ago with the whole fork situation, but just a chart. That's right. Yeah, nothing here to see on Litecoin BTC for me. Nothing interesting there. But let's have a look at AVAX. AVAX. Yay! We're starting to see some movement. AVAX did a nice long consolidation here on the daily. You can see, boom, 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 swept the lows, and now we're starting to see some movement. So now the real question is, just like the rest of the market. Oh, that's AVAX. Sorry, you're right. Yeah. Who's AVA? That's not AVAX. I feel like I've done that before too. There you go. Yeah, okay, cool. So similar to Solana though, you can see what we talked about in Solana on a daily chart. So we managed to keep the lows. We didn't close below the previous lows, and now the question is, do we start breaking structure on the upside? Do we start closing above this previous high up here? So this was the highs that we want to close above. Looks like we are pushing higher. We've still got 13 hours, so I'd love to see some sort of potentially even closing above this daily candle of interest, which is the one that we were looking at earlier in other assets. You can see that AVAX already traded that, and actually I remember, if you guys go back onto the Discord, we caught this beautiful short on AVAX. This is now the question is, do we push higher, and if so, yes, and do we then catch a long? I'm not going to be looking for shorts here. I'm going to be looking for longs once we go lower. So yeah, AVAX is looking good. It's looking prime. Some nice volume coming in. So can't really fault it. It's going to be looking good for when we retrace back down and take a nice long position, and it's going to become a nice long swing, like AVAX. That would have been nice. Sub 15. I guess the last thing that I wanted to bring up, if there's another question, and it's probably a bit of an important point, we just saw some major push. We just saw some major push. Oh, good night, sweetie. Sorry. We just saw some major push going up in the markets across all different assets. Do not FOMO in, please, ladies and gentlemen. This is not the time to be chasing the markets when we see this kind of daily candles. This is not the time where we go, oh, this is my last chance to buy, because we've seen these moves before. And guess what? There will always be another chance to bring up down, either down your dollar cost average price or enter an assets. If this was indeed the low, well then great. Let the market go up, and then we can enter on a retracement. But please, 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 do not go chase green candles. It's never going to end up well for your portfolio. We want to wait for retracements. We want to let market create some structure, and then we can look at better entries when they present themselves. So it's a very important point, I think. Had a few people reaching out to say, thinking, what's this asset? Should I buy this asset? Don't. Not today. The time to buy, in this case, we're looking at AVAX. The time to buy was done here. The time to buy was done here. And when the market comes back down, the time will be to stack up some more position, but not right now and not at this high. So end up with a bit of a trading psychology. FOMO doesn't help, and we want to be disciplined traders, which is a beautiful book by Mark Douglas. And shout out to Stingray because he bought another Mark Douglas book on recommendation. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed tonight. Bit of a overall view on the market. We haven't done one of those in a minute. We've watched a lot of setups, but macro is ever so important now with tariffs and everything else. So awesome. Thank you, team, for tuning in, and apologies for having my little one come in and say goodnight. It's bedtime here. So but other than that, team, much love from Aussie, and catch you guys next week. Bye.